Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, it's your brother Asif Hussain here with another drive time vlog. And it's been maybe a couple of weeks or a week or so I haven't done one. So if you've missed me, I'm sorry. I do apologize. I try to keep it consistent, but I think, at the same time, if there's no material for me to talk about, then there's no point in doing something ad hoc anyway. So today I'm heading out to work right now. I'm driving out this morning. The snow is not as bad as I thought. We were anticipating a lot more worse snow given the forecast and everyone kind of scaremongering talk yesterday. So it looks all right, alhamdulillah. So I'm on my way to work as normal. And just had a thought about an important date that is approaching us that many of us may be or may not be aware of. This date is the 3rd of March. 3rd of March is a very significant date for the Muslim calendar in respect of what was taken away from us, what was dismantled and destroyed by the Western colonialists. This was the epicenter of the Muslims. It was the Islamic State. It was a state that governed the affairs of the Muslims based and built around the tenets of Islam, based upon the Quran, based upon the Sunnah. This was the very entity that unified the Muslim Ummah, that gave the Muslim Ummah a sense of leadership, direction and vision. And what we have today is the offshoot of that destruction, that downfall, that dissemination of hence we have a world where we have divisions and lines dividing one nation to another. And I made a statement recently on social media about the nation state, and when we think about it, we think about the loyalty and the patriotism and the bond that people feel towards a nation, which interestingly enough, when you look back in history, what was it? It was literally a drawing of a line by the occupiers, by people who took over those lands and controlled those lands. They decided between the elite few or the governing few that, look, you can have this patch of land, I can have this patch of land, and you're going to govern this, you're going to govern that. So it was men who decided and determined the fate of other men, and now as a result of that, we feel this affiliation, this kind of strong patriotic bond or nationalistic bond that we talk about. We feel this connection to this nation. But in essence, what is this nation? What who were we and what is our identity prior to such a line being drawn? Can we really say that represents who we are and what we are? So this is one of the first key points that I want you to think about. So a nation state, what is it in definition? Is a line drawn on a map by occupiers, by people who have kind of like usurped, taken that piece of land from us, and people are willing to die and fight over this notion of a nation state. So you have to really think and understand, what does it say about us as a civilization? What does it say about us as human beings that people are prepared to fight, die, spill blood over this idea, this concept? Really, it shows to me the jahiliyat, the ignorance in humanity, in our sort of like thinking. First of all, it's almost like animalistic. You find animals, they will urinate over their patches, and this is a definition or defining line of where this patch of land belongs to me, and that's the way the animal will do that. And I'll let you draw the conclusion on that. And if that's the kind of same level of thinking that we as humans have got to, then we need to think what came before that. So we know that the 3rd of March 1924 was what I was referring to, when the Ottoman state was destroyed and the Sultan, the Khalifa Abdul Hamid, was removed from position. His governance was taken away, and what we don't understand and what we don't appreciate maybe is what was lost. People may say that, the Ottomans, they were a weak state, they were this, they were that, there was a dying old man, etc., etc. Yeah, I get all that. I understand that at the stage of 1924 nothing was left practically of that state. It was a dying, rotting state. But what you have to remember is what that state represented, what that blueprint was. It was the remnants of what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam established upon this earth. It's what the legacy that he left. That was the blueprint that he left humanity to govern the affairs of other human beings, be that Muslim or non-Muslim. That is what has been removed. That was the essence of the Muslim Ummah. That was the strength and unification of the Muslim Ummah. That was the strength that linked us back to Islam, linked us back to Quran, linked us, linked one brother to another brother, until obviously colonization took place, which divided our lands, which created borders, which created nationalities, which created divisions amongst us. Prior to that, there was a unification. Yes, there was issues. Yes, there were, things weren't always right. But the issue is the system was there. The system that is not there now was there. It was addressing these issues. It was regulating our affairs. That is the point that we need to sort of focus on. Not about, you had a Khilafah state, the Ottomans ruled, but there was a lot of disunity. There was a lot of this, a lot of that. Yes, that exists in any state. We look at the current states that we're living in now. There's always issues within a state. There's always disagreements. There's always, one group of people opposing another group of people. That reality will exist, and that dynamics will always exist, regardless of what you have. But the question becomes is, what is the essence of just ruling, of the way we as a Muslim Ummah need to go forward? Is the nation state the model for us to go forward, or is it the Islamic state, the Khilafah state that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam established? Yeah, and he worked tirelessly, and the Sahabas worked tirelessly to establish this. And the Muslims fought and defended this land and kind of brought Islam to the rest of the world. This was the reality of how Islam governed the affairs. It wasn't what you see today. Today you find, if you can imagine a cake being Islam, you find maybe a quarter, maybe even less than a quarter of what Islam is. That entire cake is completely been taken away or been eaten by foreign kind of by scavengers. That's the word I would use, scavengers. It's been eaten by them. So, brothers and sisters, 3rd of March is coming, and we need to remember what we lost, and we need to also think about and visualize and have a vision of what we want to return. Do we want to continue as nation states, as divided, of all 50 nation states divided, where Muslims in India, Muslims in Kashmir, Muslims in Palestine, Muslims in Iraq, Afghanistan, all throughout the world, but Burma, they're all suffering, they're all going through oppression, persecution, and we as an ummah are so divided that no ruler, no leadership will stand to go forward and defend the affairs of the ummah. Why? Because of lines being drawn, because of institutions being established to sort of imprison, the ummah and not allow the ummah to address its affairs. I'm going to keep this video brief because I've been advised that I talk for too long, so I'm going to try to condense it down as much as possible as I can. So the take-home message, brothers and sisters, is what is the vision going forward for the Muslim Ummah? Do we want to remain as nation states divided, or do we understand and work towards this change, this unification of the Muslim lands, this one Ummah, this one state? Rasul said in a very beautiful hadith that the Muslim Ummah is like one body. When part of the body feels pain, the rest of the body remains in fever and restlessness. That is the reality that we are facing today. Those sincere Muslims that see the cries of the Muslims, we are agitated, we are frustrated, we are angry, and our frustration and agitation and anger is not being addressed by no rulers. So we need this state to exist for the benefit of the Ummah. The last hadith that I will quote, which is a hadith about the Imam, the Khalifa, the leader of the Muslim Ummah. He is a shield. He is a shield, and if you look at the metaphor of a shield protects and defends the honor, and he is a shield, and behind this shield, the Ummah, the Muslim Ummah, they fight behind it and protect what it represents. That, brothers and sisters, is a take-home message for you today. I kept this vlog very short and brief. I can see that it's not even 10 minutes yet. So inshallah ta'ala, the 3rd of March, brothers, 1924 is a critical date we all need to remember. And going forward, this is the vision that we need to bring back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.